Hey guys, this week's video is dedicated to all our brothers and sisters in the land of Israel. It's just a week till Purim. If you haven't signed up yet for our awesome Purim party for Thursday night, do so at yjprochester.com. What's in a name? We know names are important, right? Marketing agencies spend tons of money and time coming up with the perfect name for a new business or a new program. Parents spend tons of time trying to come up with the perfect name for their children. We know names are important, but do we give them maybe more importance than we should? In this week's Torah portion, Tetzaveh, we have something interesting. This is the only Torah portion from when Moshe is born until his death that his name is not mentioned in the Torah. Now, the reason for this, the sages say, is because when the Jewish people sinned with the sin of the golden calf after the giving of the Torah, God was really upset, and he said, I want to wipe out the Jewish nation and start a new Jewish people, 2.0, beginning with Moses. And he said, no, God, if you do that, I want out. Take my name out of your Torah. I want nothing to do with this. Now, ultimately, God forgave the Jewish people, and everything was awesome. But because Moshe, as a righteous person, made that statement, in order to fulfill what he said on some level, there's one Torah portion where his name is omitted, and that's in this week's Torah portion. It's interesting. The Rebbe says, this tells you something. Yes, names are important, but they're not the person. Too often we see the name and we miss the person. You know, somebody was writing about this idea. Her name was Karen. You can see where I'm going with this. She always loved her name until it became a pejorative for somebody who was, a woman who's arrogant, entitled, etc. Now she says when she introduces her name, she notices that people already think they know something about her. They don't know her. They know nothing about her. They just met. But because of her name, they already think they know something about her. How often do we do this? Where we sum somebody up based on their name, based on a nickname. It could be a negative nickname that was given as when they were children, and it just sticks with them. And they internalize it. How often when we introduce what we do, or somebody introduces and we say, oh, what do you do? And they tell us something and we're like, Can you imagine if you met somebody and they say, hey, what do you do? And they said, oh, I'm a grave digger. You'd be like, grave digger? What kind of job is that for a good Jewish boy? How's that going to look on the resume? Which nice Jewish girl is going to want to marry a grave digger? But do you know that the great sage from the Talmud, Abba Shol, he was a grave digger? The great sage Rabbi Hillel, who became the head of the supreme Jewish court, was a wood chopper. Albert Einstein, before he became known as the most famous scientist in the world, for years was a clerk at a patent office. If we just dismiss somebody based on what they do, or we think we already know the person based on a name, based on a job title, we're missing the person. Those are things they do, or labels. It's not the person themselves. The person is so much more than any label we give them. So this week's Torah portion tells us, Moshe is very much involved in the Torah portion. His name's not mentioned, but the entire narrative is Moshe talking to the Jewish people. The Torah is teaching us that just because, don't get stuck at the name. The person is so much more. There's so much more involved. There's so much more to them. Moshe is running the whole show. It's missing his name, so what? Let's give people the benefit of the doubt. Let's get to know them, because we all do this. We all quick to judge, especially nowadays. Let's get to know each other. We're so much more than names and labels. Shabbat Shalom.